Hi, I'm Dilly MacFarlane. Welcome to the Alumni Special. Today my guest is Mary Kelly, a graduate of the Mount, and has recently taken on a new position here at the university as choir director. Hi, Mary.
How are you, Dilly?
Great, thanks for coming by today. Mary, you have been involved in the world of the performing arts since you were a little tiny girl, I know. Can you tell us about your very first public performance?
Oh, that would have been in connection with a church choir that I was involved with in Sackville, the St. John Vianney Church Choir. And I think I was 16 or 17.
Really? I would have thought you would have started much younger than that.
No, I was very shy. I always thought everyone would laugh at me. So it took me a long time. And so that was really the first time I sang on my own apart from being in church. I started singing in a church choir when I was 12 or 13, I think. That was it.
So then it wasn't much long after that you came to the Mount.
No, that's right. And I also started singing professionally. I started singing at weddings, and then it went on. Just before I came to the Mount, I worked at Celtic Lodge during the summer, and I got up and sang in the bar one night with the piano player, and then I got hired to sing in the bar.
Isn't
so that
great?
Started it, really.
Yeah. So while you were at the Mount, you studied in the arts program. What was your area of specialty there?
English literature with a minor in French.
All right. So did you at that time consider a professional career in music?
Well, not really, because I didn't want to be poor.
Sounds like a sensible attitude.
So that's why I didn't bother taking a music degree or a performing degree. But I decided that it was really what I wanted to do more than anything else, so I finished my degree, and then I started trying to get some work as a performer.
What did you do at the Mount while you were a student here? You were involved in a couple of special projects here?
Yes, I was. I started off with the speech and drama class with Patrick O'Neill. We did Herod's play, and he gave me a song to sing. He sent me to Sister Margaret Young to learn the song, and she put me in the choir. And from then on, we went on to do Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and we did that 3 times. We were asked to mount it a 2nd time for the Canadian Bible Society to take it to Antigonish, and we ended up doing the show 3 times altogether.
And then you went on to do it yet again.
At Neptune Theatre.
At Neptune.
That's
We'll
right.
get to talking about your professional theatre experiences after I ask you, Mary. You must have had some role models when you were a younger girl looking forward to a career like this. Who do you think of in terms of being a mentor or someone that gave you that kind of a leg up in your career?
The people that really supported me, I think in terms of those people, my parents, both of my parents were very, very supportive of any kind of performing that I did. And Claude Lachance, who was my choir director at St. John Vianney, was a tremendous support to me. And in fact, he would say, sing a solo, I'd say, I can't. And he'd say, do it, and I'd say, I can't. And he'd leave the room, and I'd end up having to do it. Because I kept telling myself I couldn't do things, and he just was such a support. Other than that, I love show singers. I love singers of all kinds, country, classical,
Who's your
jazz.
favorite? Who's your very favorite?
Oh, it changes.
That's
it
a rotten
changes all the
question.
time. It depends on my mood, you know. Depends, but there are many, many people that I really admire. I love Barbra Streisand. A lady named Barbara Cook is wonderful. Cleo Lane. Sarah Vaughan is tremendous.
Oh, yes, they're my favorites too.
Patsy Cline.
Yes, yeah.
Kirite Kanawa is amazing. Leontine Price. All kinds.
I can see that you're probably influenced by a lot of them. What is your favorite kind of music for yourself when you're performing on your own? What do you like to do best? If someone said you have one opportunity to give it your very best shot, what kind of music would you go for?
I guess I would see it more in terms of a setting where I would have some kind of an orchestra to play for me, and I would have flexibility to do a little bit of everything.
Cecil B. DeMille, eat your heart out.
Show music with some simple things mixed in, you know. But the energy, I think, that's in show music, I love. I'm not a rock and roll singer. It's not a natural thing for me, I think.
Well, I think the quality of your voice is much more melodic than that. Incidentally, did you take professional training?
I took some lessons about 3 or 4 years ago. I took about 2 years of lessons.
Really? And you had done a lot of your professional work before you ever took a lesson. That is incredible. You really are very, very lucky that way.
Well, as I say, Claude Lachance was wonderful. He was, and I worked with a very talented there was Claude and a lady named Betty Gillis. I was surrounded by very good musicians. And when I worked here at the Mount with Sister Margaret Young, Brigham Phillips, who's now working in Toronto, Helen Roby Bewley, those people were all around me. I was always around very talented musical people who were very professional in what they did.
Yes, yes. Tell me about the choir. I heard them perform very briefly at the Academic Recognition Assembly just a few weeks ago, and Mary, they sound wonderful. How many girls are there, just to begin with?
Well, it's around 18. It's hard because it's very hard to get everybody together at once, as I'm sure you know, with students. So I have a couple of different rehearsals to try and get everybody who wants to sing in. I want everybody who wants to be there to be part of it. We have about 18, and they're really keen. You know, they come and I ask them to do things and they try it, and I'm just so happy. Attitude has a lot to do with how people sound, I think.
And you think that they're really making time in their schedule for this. They really want to be there, in other words. Yeah, so it's not like in school where you had to show up whether you wanted to or not. That's great. I overheard you making a remark earlier that you're not really the typical choir director. What is there about you that makes you different, do you think?
Well, perhaps because I don't come from, you know, I don't have a music degree. I approach things differently. And that's the feedback that I get from them, at least. You know, we often start out, we lie on the floor so we can all learn how to breathe properly. And, you know, if they have to run around the room to sing a song to get the right feel for it, then we run around the room until we get the beat so we can feel it, and then we can stand and sing it. But
I'm going to tell you something that you might not be aware of. In watching you, the group perform at the Academic Recognition Assembly, I was particularly interested in watching how you led the group, your gestures and the way that you tried to evoke the whatever feeling that you wanted from the group. And you look as though you were born to do that, Mary. It's almost as though I thought, gee, I wonder who showed her how to do that. But of course, it must be coming from the heart, if you've not been taught this.
Well, Claude Lachance did that to me. He put me in front of a group and said, make this happen. He taught me the technical things about how to direct. But a lot of it comes from the heart. It's because it's very creative and artistic. It's like singing a song. And so it has to come. And that's the kind of communication you have to have with the choir members. You know, it's an act of trust, isn't it? It's like a director in a play. You're drawing something out of people.
Yes.
And they have to trust you enough to give it to you.
And everybody should want the same thing, basically.
Yes, that's right, exactly.
Well, what's in store now for the choir? Where can we go to hear them perform again? I would love, incidentally, for the sake of our viewers, I should mention, you sang the Gaudiamus Agitur, which is a traditional song to formal functions here at the university. And you also sang a lovely Nova Scotia song. It's a popular song right now. What was that called?
It's called She's Called Nova Scotia, and it's a song that Rita McNeil wrote when she was in Expo.
Oh, great.
So it's a beautiful song.
I think we have a cut with some of that music coming up later in the program. But I wanted to ask you, where can we hear you again? Are you doing anything for Christmas, for instance, the choir?
Yes. The choir is going to be singing on December 8th. That's it appears that that's the Christmas celebration for the students and residents here. We'll be singing at the chapel service up in Everestus, and then leading the group down through the tunnel to their Christmas dinner, and then outside before they go into the cafeteria, we'll be singing out there.
Oh, that's the candlelight procession, isn't it?
Yes,
that's
it is.
A beautiful, beautiful thing. Well, that'll be something to look forward to, really. What about the new year? Any plans for anything?
I'm still settling that in my head. It was very hard to make plans for this group because I didn't know if I was going to have 5 people or if I was going to have 50 people, because there really wasn't a student choir before I came. So I have some ideas in my head, which I'm not really talking about till they settle down a bit. But we will be doing something after Christmas.
What kind of material do the girls want to do? I think that must be quite a challenge to get something that everyone can agree on and put their whole heart into. Well,
it's funny. I think it is. That's always the problem, I think. Repertoire is always a problem.
Yes.
But the thing is that if it's beautiful, they seem to go for it. And, you know, for example, She's Called Nova Scotia, I really didn't know how to start. But that's got such a beautiful, beautiful melody to it. We're doing some things now. We're doing old Christmas things and some new ones. And they give it a try. And then if they can hear it coming together, then that's the bottom line.
Oh, that's great. That's really exciting. Now, about you. After you left the Mount, I know that you undertook a professional career as a singer in basically the nightclub circuit here in Halifax. How did you find that experience, Mary?
It was a very, very valuable learning experience. It really was, but and it's something that I really felt that I had to do. There was something inside of me that said, you have to do this. But it's not something that I would want to make my sole way of making my living. I found
It's a pretty tough way to go, isn't it?
Being in bars every night is hard, and it's very, very hard to keep a balanced perspective on things when you always work at night. If you can do a combination of both, I think it's good because it keeps you aware of everything that's going on. But working in a club every night is it's very hard.
And I suppose that your line of income and so on would be somewhat sporadic. I've heard other musicians say that there is work in Halifax, but it's in fits and starts. I suppose it wouldn't be too reliable for you.
No.
Yeah. At what point did you begin to launch into your acting, your professional acting career? Because I know you've taken part in 3 major theatrical productions in the last several years. Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat again.
Yes.
Evita, of course, which many of our viewers will remember you fondly in, and Side by Side by Sondheim. And so just tell me about how you got, again, I'm sure it's typical of you to sort of launch in. Sure, I'll give it a try. You've never had any professional theater training, have you, Mary?
Oh, no.
No? So you just went into it.
Well, I auditioned when Tom Kerr came to town. I auditioned for the Navy show, I auditioned for a few things. But when Tom Kerr came to town, I auditioned for him, and it was just terrible. I bombed right out, and it was really devastating to me. But I always wanted to do musical theater, and
How did you know you bombed out? How did you know you bombed out? Was it a feeling you had inside?
I knew inside because I went and I didn't feel really prepared. I was so nervous about doing it that I don't think I prepared properly. And then I really did, because I could tell from his reaction.
Yeah.
You know? So that was, but it was a good lesson to learn how much you can bomb out and how shaken you can be.
So you didn't bomb out again?
Well, I hope I won't do it. I mean,
to date.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't have to
The
happen
Joseph
like that
show
again.
was incredible. That was just wonderful. I was just delighted, thrilled with that. And I've taken a number of my friends to see it while it was there. It was marvelous. I missed Evita, but I'm sure that was a marvelous experience for you, Mary.
It was tremendous.
The score of that play is so incredibly good.
And the cast was such a lovely group of people.
Yeah. I know you have some very fond friends that you've made through, and of course working with Nancy Marshall and your other colleagues with the Chester production this summer. That I can see that we're going to be running out of time very soon with you, Mary. And before our time does get too short, I want to ask you something about something very special. We just have a few minutes left. But a number of our viewers, particularly those who attended the Mount, our Mount alumni audience, will remember your mother very fondly, Agnes O'Donnell Kelly, and who's recently deceased, and a graduate of the class of 1939 from the college and the Academy class of 36. Something special was done after your mother died here last year. And would you want to tell us a little bit about that?
It is very special. It actually happened just before she died, about a day before she died. Some members of the alumni called and said they would like to set up a memorial scholarship in her name. And it has been set up. Their donations are still coming in to the development office here at the Mount. And it's a really special thing to do for my mother, because the Mount was such a big part of her life, and she was so proud of being a product of the Mount. So this scholarship is now, it's not yet being given out. We're building it up before it will be start to be
So
dispersed.
if anyone who's watching today would like to contribute to the scholarship, they can do so by mailing their check to
the Mount, and made out to Mount St. Vincent, and they mail it to the development office here.
I see. Mary, I'm getting the sign that we have to go. The 15 minutes has gone very quickly. I can't thank you enough for taking time today to come and talk to me, and you've brightened up my day. I'm sure you've brightened up the day for our viewers too. So we'll look for some exciting things from you in the new year, and thanking you again for joining us. And to our viewers, I'm Dilly MacFarlane, thanking you for joining me here today on the Alumni Special.